You lead the way, sir.
He has a good voice like you.
This is the mayor of the airways. Good morning. How are you this morning? We have Beverly Osler in the studio. We have, of course, Mr. Erickson, Stanford Erickson.
Nice to be here with you, as always.
And you brought in a special guest for show and tell, Jacob Craig. Good morning, Jacob Craig.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here. And explain what Jacob does.
Well, I'm in his choir. Jacob Craig is the music and art director at First Presbyterian Church, but he's so much more.
Our sympathies, Jacob.
He's listened to my voice. He would go down.
Do you hide him in the back?
There's a special Stanford Erickson room.
Keep the microphone away from that guy back there. Former White House correspondent, might be a good news guy, but not the greatest singer. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm part of the chorus.
No, I don't really know that, ladies and gentlemen, because I haven't heard you sing. Do you want to sing for us this morning?
You've heard me sing. You're the one that always puts you think like
That's not
he
true.
always puts his hand down a little bit.
It's not true, is it? No.
Yes, it is. But it's not, Jacob Craig, more than that. He had the Silver Tones, which he is in charge of.
What are the Silver Tones?
Jacob, what are the Silver Tones?
The Silvertones are a sponsored community choir by the Senior Resource Association and Kathy and Michael Pierce.
Now, you play a host of instruments. The first time you showed up here at my studio, he backed in. Matter of fact, the sheriff was here, and he was sitting right where Stanford is. Sheriff Lohr. And all of a sudden, this guy, I'd met him yet. Apparently, Stanford had booked him on the show, but I didn't know. So apparently, this guy comes in, and then he backs his car in. So he's facing our window here. And he's kind of staring out at us, through the glass. Then he gets out of his car, and looks like a leather case that carries a gun. A big long gun, you know what I'm talking about? And I'm going, you know that Glock that you just showed me that you carry with you, Sheriff? I'm trying to word mouth to him while we're on the air, like there's a guy headed towards the front door. And then he comes through the front door, and he opens it up, and it's
It's worse than a gun. It's a set of bagpipes.
Yeah, bagpipes. Oh, it's a Brit. Oh, what are you going to do now? It's good to play for a star. So, did you bring your bagpipes with you today? No.
No.
But you play a host of instruments.
Mainly keyboard instruments and bagpipes.
Where's your gifting? Is it in writing melodies? Is it in writing lyrics? Is it in arranging?
I'm a pianist first, and so I think maybe the musical gift is kind of just speaking music as a language in terms of seeing a piece of music written and immediately kind of ingesting it and hearing it before even playing. It's kind of this instantaneous audiation of what's in front of you.
So giving your own thumbprint, so to speak, your own interpretation?
Some absolutely so. And basically, a lot of times there's kind of two categories of playing musicians. One are people that are very good sight readers,
yes.
And the other are people that are also very good solo players, and they need to spend quite a bit of time actually getting the music ingrained into their musculature.
Yeah.
I just did a concert a couple weeks ago with a phenomenal violinist from Germany, and he's the latter. And so, there's a particular piece he was doing called the Waxman Carmen Variations. Very, very difficult piece of violin music. And he said that it took him around 5 years, 2 hours a day, to learn that piece. Really get ingrained in you.
And then you sit there, and how long is the piece?
The piece is about 7 minutes.
7 minutes. So you sit there and listen, which, for me, now I would like to hear this now. I'd like to see him do this. No, is this a local guy? No.
No. He's from Germany, Heidelberg, and he's traveling around.
Because, I think that it's just like when you look at a Van Gogh, and you know what Van Gogh went through to get there. Suddenly, it's got much more appeal.
Certainly
It's
so.
the story. You know, I'm releasing a book over the next year of my poetry, and Beverly, she keeps saying you need to have a story on the left-hand page of what inspired you, and then the poem on the right. And I think she's right. We're more interested in the artist. What's the old saying? Nobody cares how much you know till they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
And now, by the way, I got something last night. I went to Melody Music.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the back seat of my car. Would you mind? I'll give you my keys. Would you go get that?
What am I getting?
The thing I bought yesterday. You were with me. Remember
Oh,
at
I
Melody
know.
Music?
Yeah, I
it's in the
remember.
back seat. Thank you. So, no, I got myself a new little toy last night. I've been resisting. And so I wanted to bring it in. Of course, I'll have to strum it a little bit for you, you know. But the function of music, you know, you and I have that similar. I was over there last night, and this is what made me think of this when you were talking about spending all that time. I'm a street musician. I can't read a note. And even last night, when someone was trying to explain to me this new instrument, string instrument that's about to come through the door, I bought last night. Well, I thought it was. I thought it was. Well, it's in a different tuning than a typical guitar, and so he's trying to explain to me mathematically. And for some reason, I don't know. It might be a retardation or something, but it's just as if somebody was going you know, it's
Retardation? Well, maybe so.
no. This is not to be joked with. This is seriousness. I'm not joking around when I say this. This is like an inability to pick up things mathematically. Okay. All right. So anyway, do you like this? Probably know what this is without me even telling you. You're probably one of these guys that has what do you call that? You can, I mean, like you can tune without even having an instrument.
Perfect.
Certainly.
Yeah. Do you have that?
Yes.
Yeah. And what is this tuned in?
That was in C.
Oh, it's in C?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because he said that these, though I'm using the regular chords of a guitar,
Right.
that it was tuned in something else.
Because you're playing a G right there, right? Chord.
Well, for me it's a C, but I think you're right.
Sounding as an F.
What does that mean that it's tuned to?
That means it's a fifth difference.
Now you see how he immediately. Now it's too bad that you didn't get to meet. Here, I'll hand that over to you. You might want to fiddle with that. There's a guy named Billy Muir. He just died.
Okay.
Billy Muir was 97 years of age. He played on 24 number one hit records. The guitar, like Pink Sport Coat. I mean, you'd be shocked at the talent we have in this town. But he was trying to teach me this thing when studio musicians go in, how they put the chords together.
Yes.
You probably know what I'm talking. What is that they use for the street musicians that play on these hit records?
It's called sampling.
Sampling.
So they'll take a sample of either chord progression that they used or the actual moment they used it, and they can incorporate it with all kinds of other things. It's a studio technique.
Okay, now Jacob, when did you first get the desire to? When did you know you had a gift for music?
Probably sometime around middle school. I started taking piano lessons at 5.
At 5.
At 5, and that was
That
just
late.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And it was just in the house, our house I grew up in, it was just considered another academic. So there was math homework time, and there's piano practice time. It's just kind of a good general developmental skill. And then in middle school, I had a teacher suggest I try to do a competition, and it was fairly successful, so I kept doing it.
With the piano?
Yes, with the piano, yes.
Piano's a good place to start.
Yes, certainly so.
It's like a foundation for the other instruments.
Oh, absolutely so. If you take 6 years, the research shows if you take 6 years of piano lessons, then you can have exponentially easier time with any other instrument that you encounter.
I wish I'd taken piano lessons.
Simply, the right and the left brain sides, you have to use both hands. You have to, be able to get the coordination down. You have to be able to read multiple stabs and notes at the same time. Anything beyond that tends to be a little easier.
That means you have less likely, seriously, you probably won't get Alzheimer's because of that, because you created other synapses. They say the only physical exercise that will do that is ballroom dancing, because you go 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, and
right.
et cetera, and you. it messes with the head. You have to move the
Absolutely.
left hand and the right hand.
Yes, and since our hands actually are parallel, they are opposites. They're mirrors of each other.
Yeah.
So what you have is what's called contrary motion and parallel motion. So contrary motion, if you see my hands here, obviously my thumbs, if I turn them this way, then that actually I'm moving down one way and up the other way. So you have to learn to use them both this way.
Good
So
for the
it's a
brain.
good skill. Very good for the brain.
Harder when you get older?
Harder to start, but certainly not
Those are
impossible.
too late for me?
Never.
Never. No,
Never.
in all sincerity, I'm really
Oh,
wondering.
absolutely. I mean, that's one of the basic health benefits of music is that, it kind of, there's even been just slight, one of the newest cutting edge stuff for, I think, really some of the health benefits we're looking for in encountering Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all these things is neurogenesis, right? And so there's been they're still working on it to show some of the neurogenesis that might come from actually taking up an
What does
instrument.
neurogenesis mean?
Being
for
able
those
to
of us?
create new brain cells.
That's right, because we have someone in our family, a little girl that was born, and apparently the way they took her out of the womb, they hurt her brain, and they thought she would never do anything, and now they say she's been getting better, and all of a sudden now they've come up with all this breaking news. About 2 years ago, saying,
Yes.
yeah, you can just like the liver regrows, you can in fact grow your brain.
Yes.
And what's that called?
Neurogenesis.
I want to write that. Hold on, I want to sound intelligent here. Neurogenesis. Now, Genesis means beginning, so neuro would mean new.
Yes.
Is that what neuro means? New? Or
It does, yes. No, we're neurological.
New
it's
Genesis,
just-
new
yeah,
beginning.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And so everything they're trying to do with the synapses connecting to each other, like Alzheimer's, you lose synaptic connections, right? And so one of the things that music does from a health standpoint is that it reaches down, obviously with the sensory kind of reflections, right? Olfactory senses are the longest lasting, right?
Yeah.
Second is aural. And so a lot of times, this is why you'll see one of the things like the Silvertones we do over the summers. We go through, we do a 6-week concert series at various assisted living facilities, and you'll see with a lot of the memory care facilities that while these people are not able to necessarily, some of them function the day to day. As soon as you start playing a piece of music that reminds them of those really deep-seated synapses in their brain of a previous time, they
Yeah.
can sing every lyric, no problem.
Yeah, I met John, no, not John Glenn, Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell came to town a couple of years ago. He is still alive, but barely. He has a severe Alzheimer's. Matter of fact, when I met him that night at the Riverside Theater, I'm sure that 30 seconds after he met me, he would not have remembered that he met me, but they were shooting a film. The director was in town who shot the Johnny Cash movie, and then they decided to make this documentary, I Will Be Me. It's now been released. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
But
sir.
he can't remember anything, but he can sing all his songs and play guitar to anything, which is simply amazing. Simply amazing. Now, music. Music has been used. Matter of fact, in the Bible, because you're a music minister over here at this church, here, this Presbyterian church, they even have stories where the prophets will say, "Get me the musicians," because they put the musicians before, because it brings in the presence of the Spirit of God, right?
For them, absolutely so. That was a direct correlation to their worship.
Now, what I want to know was it the prophet using the music to minister to the humans to get them inspired to focus on God, or was the music, or it could be a combination of both, or was the music being used to inspire God to visit man?
I'm going to have to say most likely, that it's maybe some of both, right? Because the whole basis of faith is believing that you are, in the higher being's active involvement in your life at some point, right? And of course, from the scientific side, then we know what music does to the body and the brain, which can inspire those kind of feelings, which is why the church tried to control music for so long. 1,100 years, the Catholic Church had complete control over music other than tribal. And
Really?
that was what's called monophony.
I mean, what was even public socially?
Right.
They wanted to control music.
Music was not allowed to be performed in a secular format until the Renaissance.
So publicly, there was no singing in bar
was
rooms
none.
or.
Yeah, only tribal. And this is
Now, what do
through
you
the
mean by
dark
tribal?
age.
You
Tribal
mean
would be like
in
all
Africa?
throughout the world. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay,
Wherever
they
there
couldn't
was.
control it because they weren't there.
That's exactly right.
Isn't it funny how man wants to use everything? to gain power when in fact he has no power. And the whole process of being here is God says, okay, well, we're going to check out how you're going to get on without me. You say you can live with me, so I'm going to give you the power of free choice. Let's see how you get on with it. We're not doing quite well, are we? Blowing each other up, killing each other, maiming, raping, stealing, cursing, self-centeredness prevails,
And that's
lovers
just
of
the
self.
Democrats.
You know?
Republicans even worse.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
It's, okay, let's take a break, and then we'll come back. We're talking with Jacob Craig. Jacob Craig is the music minister at the not the Baptist Church, the Presbyterian Church. Well, what I want to know is, when we come back is, did you choose being a music minister because music found you? And how deep is your dedication? Is it do you do this because it's a position, it's a job, or have you ever had a what they call an epiphany experience where you believe the Lord has actually called you to do this, to be a minister of music? Because we know that David, who had a heart after God, played his lute and wrote psalms and prayers. Got to take a break. We're talking with Jacob Craig. What's your official title over there?
Director of Music and Arts.
Director of Music and Arts. And art certainly is the spearhead of all change of our society and for a healthy society. We'll be right back.
Very interesting. How do you sing differently with that, Rhett? When you play something that's a treble type, how would you sing differently? Or you would not? No? Same way.
Well, Harlan Howard, who was a famous songwriter, you know, he said, they said, why are you buying another guitar? He said, because there's only so many songs in every guitar. Now, at least for that person.
Really?
See, like this will bring Now, I never heard those chords quite the same as I'm hearing today. The very simple chords, but they're taking me away. You know, it's so cool. So, anyway, I know that this my friend here, Smart Elk, sitting over here today. He's always trying to put you and I together. So he has ulterior motives for you being here today. I don't quite know what they are, but I know he's been trying to. Now, I can tell you this, that the reason I ask you about arrangement, because I have no ability there, but I would like to record. I've got a new car, and so I'm listening to a lot of satellite radio. Coffee House. Do you ever listen to Coffee House?
I know.
No. It's more folk. Very simplistic folk. Without great production. And I've been recording for years and years, like 40 years. And so many times my stuff has been overproduced. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. So is your gift arranging? Can you hear something and you immediately know?
It can be, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you be interested in helping me?
Always.
You would?
Sure.
Said that very quickly.
You
They said some of the
should
answers
perform somewhere, too. You'd have fun doing
Yeah.
it. He has a wonderful voice. He has a
Yeah,
wonderful voice.
I don't know if I'll be performing, but you got to take one step at a time, just playing together. This guy's a master musician. I'm just I'm a straight guy, you know?
He's going for his PhD now, too.
Are you? Then it'd be Dr. Craig.
Someday. Silicone for fishing.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't, it's weightless, and if I destroy it, I just get another one. It's $20.
Okay.
Your wedding thing?
It's silicone. It's like for
The
fishing
wife
and
cost
everything like that.
$100,000, but the
Oh, I
ring-
see, because you fish a lot,
Yeah,
and you go into the water,
Yep.
and you don't want to fish biting the silver.
that's exactly right.
Really? And your wife doesn't mind?
No, she found it for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I was wondering if it had any religious.
No, certainly not. The belief in good chemical engineering.
I mean, it almost looks like black in morning sing for somebody.
Right.
You know, it had many messages to me.
Yep.
Okay.
My actual wedding ring, what I had, was made of something called tungsten carbide,
Yeah.
which is a black metal that's unscratchable and all that kind of stuff. It's very heavy.
Every day I learn something. I love it.
That's right.
See, this is not a ukulele.
No.
This is a
You're wrong.
guitar yuki or whatever. Well, I was over to Melody Music yesterday. We're going to be doing an article on some new variations of musical instruments that are, well, actually, there's, I went to see a band recently, and who was it? It was some famous group, and he came out with something that looked like a lute. There's all kinds of instruments. Like my grandmother used to play the ukulele. And I even wrote a song a number of years ago. Grandma played a ukulele. She played it every day. And I was just singing this is about 10 years ago. Nobody's playing ukulele. Then I'm over at Panera Bread here in Vero Beach, and I meet the guy who worked with Clint Eastwood. He was a star in a movie about World War II. And as I come in to do the interview with him, he's sitting there strumming on his ukulele. And I should have known then. He was, flew in here from Hollywood and has grandparents or parents here, or whoever, and that's why he was in town. I should have known then. If this is in Hollywood, it'll be with the proletariat before you know. Now, 10 years later, I go to a little church over here on US 1. They're going to move into that new church over near the Hampton Inn. Mm-hmm. Well, I presume she's a street musician like me. She's married to the pastor, who's a 30-year-old pastor over here at this church. But she gets up with her purple hair, blue hair, or pink hair, whatever she decides. She's down at here, Mark's at the hair place down here. And she's now playing a green ukulele. And, one of my jobs now is to get a photograph of her playing her ukulele for Vero's Voice magazine. So this whole thing with the ukulele coming up, it's like the kids think they've discovered something new when it's the cycle just coming around again, right? Oh, we've gotten a beep. You know what that means? It means we're going to take a break.
Oh.
So do you feel you got a call from God to do what you do over at Presbyterian Church?
That's a tough question to answer.
Have you had an epiphany experience? I mean, do you believe in Jesus
so.
as your Lord and Savior?
Certainly so.
Fully.
The idea,
the way you answer that, I have a professor friend. He said if somebody answers, the quicker they answer, the more they believe it. We got a break. Will you stick with us, Jacob Craig?
Course, yes, sir.
We'll be back on the other side of the news.
What do you mean, the quicker the answer? Is that the truth?
My professor friend said, let's say, would you like to help me with my poetry? And you go, yes. The way he answers, that means he definitely, yes, Mr. B.
I have 3 questions for you.
Okay, let me finish what I'm doing first, right?
That's right.
Okay. So if the person answers quickly, that means that that's what they really believe. If they hem and haw, they either don't want to do it or they're not sure. Okay. So it's not as valid. Mm-hmm. But he's like, when I said, would you be willing to help me? He goes, yeah. Well, I go, whoa, okay, the door is open. He means it. And when he said, did you have an epiphany experience? He goes, Jesus. He goes, yes. Then you know he has. Mm-hmm. You see? I don't know why. The late Professor Jim McLaughlin, he took me to Israel to shoot a music video for my song The Empty Tomb 30 years ago. I forget what it was. They debuted on the 700 Club. But anyway, just so you know, I've done stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. B has 3 questions.
Oh, the 3 questions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. B. Remember, we are on Mr. B.
Yes, I know.
So smile for the cameras.
That's what I hear.
I don't want to smile.
Hey, you smile. You got to be happy.
I'm happy. Is Dr. Plains coming in today to cut segments?
He's supposed to at noon. It's Wednesday, right?
Yes. It's Wednesday, and Mrs. B's having her cataract surgery at 1:15. So I have
get
somebody,
in, get out. I hope he's on time.
I have somebody. I can't cut it that close. I have somebody taking her down there, and I have to pick her up. Okay.
Look what he goes through to accommodate me.
That's right.
I see that halo above your head. Oh, that's not a halo. That's white hair.
Second, don't forget today is Stump the Rhett Day after the 9:30 news.
Yes.
Okay?
We're going to have fun.
Stump the Rhett Day.
And there is a challenge on your I marked up in your packet of.
Oh yeah.
There's a song challenge.
Oh yeah. In this thing.
Yeah, on the second page.
Yeah.
But I read it while I'm eating breakfast.
Okay,
I
thank
print
you.
it out at home.
You know, by
and
the
put it in.
way, now that you've started to read these things, if you see something that's good, don't use, we should have our own colors, but you
Yeah.
can circle it. And that way, if you've picked it, then I'm pretty confident I can put it on air.
Yeah,
Would you do
yeah,
that?
Yeah, I can do
You're
that.
gonna
But
put
there's a
Hockey ha-ha. The Nashville Predators are in the Stanley Cup final. Is Nashville a hockey town? Sure it is. Somewhere in Nashville right now, a guy who writes country music songs is trying to come up with a word that rhymes with Zamboni.
There you go. There's a challenge for you.
Macaroni.
Zamboni and macaroni.
Zamboni, macaroni.
all right,
So
so-
are they
they're
are
cronies.
they an Italian band or something? What's Zamboni?
Zamboni is the thing that cleans the ice.
It's the machine. You're right on.
Oh.
So
Tony Macaroni
I saw
was
that
riding
this
his Zamboni.
On a pony.
Stay out of it.
There was something funny yesterday about a radio host. I'm sorry. I'll give this back to you, don't worry.
I'm all excited about my new instrument.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to learn new chords, you know.
Oh, it's great that they can do that now. It's easy. They did that for the banjo. They almost every string instrument. They made a version of that now.
I was amazed with that store, his inventory. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's got a tight ship over there.
To show how facile it is, he's a pianist, but our church we need an organist as well. He learned the organ. How many days did you learn the organ? He learned the organ in about a week. I mean, he could play the organ, but really learned to play it well. He plays beautifully now. Very, very talented.
Yeah, well, perfect pitch. I guess that's a. Now, what I do want to know is, we should talk about this on the air. I won't ask you unless if you don't know. But people have told me that it says in the scriptures that Satan, it has musical instruments built within his body by God to praise God. Is that true?
It's not in the Bible, but it says it says in Genesis, Satan is the father, or Satan, Seth, which is Satan's child, not Seth.
I know. Go
Anyway,
ahead. Get to the point.
Satan's created music.
Satan.
That's what it says in the Bible.
Yeah.
In
Well, you
Genesis.
can see that in today's world. All this crap that they put over the radio, misogynistic, putting women down, you know. I mean, just horrible stuff. And even the Muslims. You know, have you been to Israel yet?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, when you get to Israel, I presume you want to go someday.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. And when you get there, all of a sudden you'll go. I mean, I'm naive, and I'm a high school dropout, so I don't have the education most people have. But all of a sudden I get there, and I'm thinking it's going to be all Jews, and all of a sudden I go into the ancient city of Jerusalem, which I didn't even know was still going to look that way. I figured, well, they plowed it over now, and it's going to be a modern city. It's still the ancient city of Jerusalem. And you and it's the call for the Muslims to pray, you know. Hello, Mr. B. Yes, how many seconds?
You're in the open.
Okay. I didn't do that jingle. That was done by a company out in California.
It's a nice one. Nice jingle.
At first I didn't like it, but it grows on you.
Yeah.
It's funny how you have to hear new songs on the radio. The first time you'll hear something. I remember when I heard Jimmy Buffett's song, you know, nibbling on Sponge Geek, watching the sun back. I thought, what is this?
Oh, I love Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, I thought, well, the first time I heard it, though, I thought, what a piece of crap this is. And I actually said that. Well, I guess it's a good thing I don't pick the hit songs.
It's a folk
Because
song.
it's the only number one song that he really has had. And he grosses between $40 and $50 million a year. So he's doing quite well off of that one song, which opened up the door for his Parrot Heads, et cetera, which was no. So Jacob Craig is my guest today, and we're talking music. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning.
So he loves what he does.
Very much.
What would you want? Now, I happen to know I was there last Christmas at the Presbyterian Church, and you're married.
Yes, little
Children?
4-year-old boy.
1 4-year-old boy. I remember you had him in your arms. What did I see you performing there? Was it a string instrument? You performed last Christmas, didn't you?
Yes.
Or for the men's meeting, the luncheon. You did something.
Yes, it wouldn't have been a string instrument, I don't think. It's just
No.
keyboard stuff for me.
Keyboards. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you play with a group? Was it a quartet or no?
Probably.
Yeah.
There's quite a few every week, so it's hard to keep them all track.
Yeah. Now I hear that a couple of months ago, it gets in the way of where I go to church. It's a small little church, but about 80 of us. But your church, the Presbyterian Church, and I like your pastor a whole lot. I really come to like Tim a whole lot as a human being.
Dr. Tim Womack.
Yeah, he's just I just really like that guy. And he can laugh at himself, and that's a sign of a deeper intellect, I believe, self-deprecation. So when I got off on that, now what was I going to say to you? Something.
A couple months ago.
Couple of months ago. Oh, that at 11 o'clock now. Do you still have the kids coming in?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have an orchestra now at the 11 o'clock service.
An orchestra?
Full orchestra, symphonic orchestra.
How many?
Any given Sunday between 25 and 32.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, sir.
That's got to be great.
It is. It's wonderful. I love it.
Have you ever heard Bethune-Cookman?
I have not.
You've heard about them. Okay. Well, that'd be something I'd like you to experience. It's where it's predominantly black. And it was started years ago. And I know they've come to this church over here, the one on the beach.
Christ by the Sea?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they come to this school, and maybe about 50 black kids are all up there singing. But then they come marching down on both sides of the crowd and down the middle of the crowd. And when you've got all these people singing, "Hallelujah, brother," it's just like around you. I mean, you can't, I don't know about me, maybe I'm an emotional guy, but I can't help it. The warm tears are coming down out of my eyes and my cheeks, and I'm hoping nobody sees me because I'm embarrassed that I'm touched so. So when you've got an orchestra, where do you fit them in there?
On the floor.
In the back, or?
No, on the chancel and on the floor.
Really?
Have you attended one yet?
Well, yes, I attend every Sunday because
but at 11, have you seen this?
Well, yes, I sing in the choir 2 services.
That must be phenomenal.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Now, I wonder if you've seen an increase in donations, because you would think because music touches the emotions. I mean, they use music to sell stuff, right? I mean, did you know that's what I did for a living before I used to sing jingles?
I did not.
Oh yeah. I wrote. Now you're gonna have to hear the whole thing. I wrote sensible things like "Coming home for the holidays" for the American Red Cross. Went national 10 years, and I was so stupid. I gave the song to the Red Cross. Didn't know that I could. I was living in the ghetto and didn't know I could
that.
be.
That's your song.
I could have been collecting residuals.
Oh yes, sir.
And I never got a dime.
Wow.
I didn't know I could have done that.
I actually remember that one from the commercials.
Do you really?
I do.
And then I wrote this. I bet you haven't heard. This was from upstairs. It goes, "It's a mini sandwich filled with steak, onions and cheese. Ooh, it's great. It's a Pee-wee. Yeah, I love 'em. It's Pee-wee. Can't eat enough of 'em. What's a Pee-wee? It's a mini sandwich filled with steak, onions and cheese. Ooh, it's great. It's a Pee-wee." Anyway.
I want one of those. I'm hungry now.
Actually, the guy went out of business. It was a good lesson. He started as George. He was an Italian kid. And he started this little Pee-wee sandwich, little mini, teeny, tiny, almost like Subway sandwiches, but it looked like a little tiny thing. Mm-hmm. And they sell for 23 cents each. And he was doing great, but then he got successful and he started getting greedy. So instead of putting the better meat in, went down a grade to save a few pennies. Yep. Then instead of putting the Land O'Lakes cheese in, he put some other cheese. He goes out of business.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big lesson. People, you can't. That old saying, "You can't underestimate the taste of the American public," is a lie. They do know when something's good. Look at Haagen-Dazs. That's still around. I hope they don't touch that stuff.
Oh, indeed.
So we got a lot to talk about here.
Yes,
by the way, Jacob Craig, his official title at the Presbyterian Church,
Director of Music and Arts.
Director of Music and Arts. You went to school where?
Undergrad at a little performing arts school in Georgia called Shorter University.
Oh, where's that?
It's in Rome, Georgia.
Oh.
Which is...
Are you a Georgia guy?
I am. I grew up in northeast corner of Georgia in the mountains.
I was just up in Amicalola Falls.
Oh, excellent.
Last
a little
week.
North of there, a little town called Blairsville is where I'm from.
Blairsville?
Yes,
I
sir.
almost went to Blairsville.
Yes, sir.
I was like 5 minutes from Blairsville. We went up into the mountains where they're supposed to have this bridge that's made out of, hemp.
Absolutely.
Rope.
There's plenty of them.
You've probably been there.
Oh, yes, sir. Many times.
People don't know. No, I to be completely honest with you, to help you sell your home, your alma mater here. I used to find all my life Georgia was just a state I had to go through to get to Florida as a New Yorker. Mm-hmm. Suddenly, a couple of years ago, every season we go up there and we stay at the lodge there at Amicalola Falls. Folks, you know, it was blastering hot in Atlanta last week, 93, 94 degrees, very humid. Oh my word! I called the man at the front desk. He says, "Don't worry, I've never broken a sweat up here, and I've been here 5 years. It's so cool up there, 3,500 feet up, right?"
It is, yes, sir.
So that's your territory.
That's where I grew up.
It's gorgeous. No wonder you're a musician. The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Definitely. So.
By the way, the lady you're sitting next to right here, you know the Sound of Music, and you know the family. That's the true story, okay?
The Trapp family.
And this lady is from Vermont, and she was the personal assistant to Mrs. Von Trapp and used to travel around the world with her and put her suitcase together and travel with her.
Neat.
And Mrs. Von Trapp would tell her to go write a check and give money, thousands of dollars away. She secretly gave a lot of money away, right?
Wow.
And yet
Yeah.
never made a dime from the movie.
Well, what happened when she wrote the story, it was very successful, but in a modest way. And then a German company approached her and said, "Oh, we would like to buy the rights to your story." So she sold the rights, and then they came to the United States, went to 20th Century Fox, sold the rights. So to this day, the Trapp family do not get any residuals.
How about that?
But it made them
story.
famous, and
Yes.
so they've sold a lot of motel rooms since then. Hotel
I'm
rooms up
sure.
there, you know.
Wow.
The hotel did burn to the ground though a few years ago, but that's another story for another. Stowe, Vermont, another little secret place. I don't know if you've ever been.
I've not.
Because of this lady, last year I went up there for the first time. Liked it so much, went back again during the summer. Going up again this summer. It is this little teeny tiny quaint, quintessential perfect little gem of a northern Vermont town. I highly recommend it. Let's get back to music though right now. Okay, so what is special about vocal music, Craig? Jacob Craig.
So if you consider it kind of the function of music, what it actually does and why it does what it does,
Yeah.
right?
And what does it do?
So if you take art, like big A art, all of art, right? We have what's a normal process of how we filter and perceive art. Starts with a perception because we're alive. So we view something, we read something, we experience art in some way. Then immediately what happens is that you conceptualize it. So there's a Van Gogh painting, we'll say, or something, Starry Night, right? Everybody knows Starry Night, right?
Yes.
So
Starry, starry night.
that's right. So you look at Starry Night and you look at it what it's representing. It's conceptualized, okay? So if you understand it, then you assimilate it. You kind of determine if it's well done, what it's supposed to be representing, and then after that you decide how you feel about it. It's the same for literature. You read a book, there's a conceptual moment, you assimilate it, and then after that you decide how you feel about that book. Am I going to recommend this? Is it life-changing? Is it something that I wish I hadn't wasted the time reading, et cetera, et cetera. So music is the only thing that does this in reverse. Because with music, as soon as you hear it, immediately you have an emotional reaction. Without knowing why. You don't have to know the composer. You don't have to know where it came from, what country it originated in. All you know is you hear these tones.
It can excite, incite.
Everything. And all of a sudden you have an emotional reaction. And then it's called the psychoepistemological process. That's the relationship between...
Hold on, say that again. The what?
It's a $5 word right
The
there.
psychological what?
Psychoepistemological.
Okay, now I need to study that so I can sound real intellectual on my radio show.
Well, this means the origin of.
So which essentially is the relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious.
Yeah.
So what happens is that your conscious mind is aware that you are feeling something by experiencing this music. Your subconscious suggests an image that reflects the concept that you're hearing. And then after you assimilate it, you decide how you feel about how you feel. So we'll take something like Clair de Lune, Debussy, right? So you listen to the first tones, and almost everybody from a gross emotional standpoint will say it's peaceful, it's relaxing, it's all these things, okay? Well, Debussy, obviously, Clair de Lune's Moonlight on the Water, he wrote that piece because he was trying to evoke the emotional contact he felt while looking at a moonlight reflection in a pond through a park, beautiful scene. Now, most people, if they don't know that imagery and they just hear the tones, they'll think peaceful, calm, but their individual imagery will be something that is personal, where maybe peaceful and calm for me is watching my mother sew, or maybe it's sitting on a dock fishing, or maybe it's et cetera, okay? What music
it's the
does...
dock for you.
It's the dock for me.
Or eating Haagen-Dazs.
Or eating
Ice cream,
Haagen-Dazs.
yeah.
So the function of music exists to elicit an emotional reaction, which is why everything that's ever happened, the church and companies and all this kind of stuff, they know that's a guaranteed fact. Whatever the emotional content is, it's going to be reflected in your body, period. And so that's why it has such power, because you can't block it out.
Right.
If I play something, you either like it, dislike it, you feel something about it, and you have no control over that. So it's a very powerful tool.
That being said, Jacob, we need to talk to God. I sure hope we're not going to have rap music in heaven.
I hope not as well. That's a process getting down there. I'll get to that. So vocal music, though, because of which that is part of, right?
Yeah.
Technically. Vocal music, even within the realm of music, is special in that vocal music is literature first. Good vocal music begins with a literary content, whether it's poetry,
you mean the
whether
lyrics?
Absolutely.
Okay, inspire.
Okay,
Visual.
and so lyrics and literature is the normal psychoepistemological process where we read it, conceptualize it, and then decide. So what happens with vocal music is that we're supposed, if composers of any merit, they're supposed to write music that is reflecting the emotional or conceptual content of the lyrics. And that's unusual, because if you listen to music that is vocal music without the vocals, most of the time it doesn't seem like much. Mm-hmm. All right, it's an accompaniment, right? Mm-hmm. It's the lyrics that kind of they work with each other in terms of the music reflecting what the content of the lyrics are trying to
Are you
promote.
a melody writer?
Not too much. No.
Are you a lyric writer?
Can be, certainly.
That's my forte.
Yeah.
First and foremost, if I had to pick one, it would be the lyrics. Bob Dylan has an amazing ability. Yes, he's a great lyricist, but he does have this prosody, right? And prosody means the marriage of the lyric to the melody, right?
Right.
And he is amazing the way he picks these things, pulls these things out of the air.
Certainly so.
Or
Certainly
they're,
so.
Or they're delivered to him by a power greater than himself, which is probably the truth.
Yeah. Definitely so.
Look at I got a new book you'd like to read. This guy was on my show, and he took a lot of time. I mean, it's a nice little thick, it's a paperback, on all the people whose songs came to him. Like yesterday, the number one recorded covered song in the history of man is "Yesterday," right? By other vocalists. Mm-hmm. And Paul McCartney says he didn't write it; came to him in his sleep. And to remember the melody, he said, "Ham and eggs, oh how I like to eat those ham and eggs." It came to him in his sleep, and he used that to remember it, and then wrote "Yesterday." And he comes in. I don't know if you've heard the recording. They have now an anthology of the stuff in the recording studio that was not available to the public, and you can hear him just on his guitar. He's just written it that week. He brings it and he's playing it for Mr. Martin. They're recording it so in case they want to embellish it and decide what sort of arrangement they're going to put behind it, right? And that guy, what a marvel, this 22-year-old, you know. But how many hit songs have come via dreams?
Probably a vast majority of them.
So is this the mind of man, or are we a tunnel or a connection, a conduit from a power greater than ourselves that is gifting us with these, melodies?
Well, that's very interesting, because there is still some kind of mystery and awe around music, in that there is no universal vocabulary of music. That's kind of the new ground.
Now, what do you mean?
So everybody always says, it's kind of a colloquialism now, that music's the universal language, right? Well, technically that's not quite accurate, because there is no universal vocabulary of music. In Western music, right, Western Europe and over here, we base all of our music off of a tuning system called an equitemper tuning system, which is half steps, right, which is the major scales. We know it, a diatonic scale. And Eastern music has a quarter tone system, like Indian classical music, Asian music, right? So they literally have twice the number of notes we do.
So they're studying the effect.
Yeah.
Varied effect.
Because here's the deal, right? You can have an amazing emotional experience over here, listening to a certain piece. If you hear a piece of Indian classical music or Asian classical music, you're going to recognize it as a cultural music, but you're not going to have an emotional reaction to it.
Why? Like Ravi Shankar.
Right, because you don't know. Because there's no assimilation for you. There's no familiarity with that style of music or their tuning system. And so you hear things that are a little bit off to you. Not necessarily something all of a sudden you're going to listen to Ravi Shankar and all of a sudden you're going to be taken to this place in your own life, this imagery.
But this has got to be very exciting for you as a musician.
Certainly.
Because it's kind of like when you eat, I live to eat, I don't eat to live. Okay?
Yeah.
And when I first came to town, there was a man who was very affluent, the Getty and he inherited a lot of the Getty money. But he would work here. He had a restaurant called Ellie's, and he did it. He didn't have to work a day in his life. I said, why do you work? You and your wife so hard? He said, because we want our children to see us that we have the work ethic. But anyway, so he was a regular listener to my show, and he'd invite me down there, and he'd give me this little plate would come out, and it would have these little scrapes of beef or this weird stuff and some drizzled stuff, and I'd go, what is this? Well, now, after prospering somewhat, I've been introduced to these things. And I've had one too many hamburgers and one too many pasta dishes probably. So when you can try something new, even if it's just a small little amount, it's like, wow, this is wonderful, something I haven't tasted even though I'm in my 60s. So for a musician like you to find out that there are other cultures, it's like, wow, this can open up the floodgates as far as experiencing something new for yourself. You know?
It is, and I think it's going to take a lifetime of work to kind of, if with someone, you're going to need several types of people to determine that, which is going to be a physiologist, because music's a physiological being. Music is nothing more, scientifically, than cycles per second of sound waves. So what we consider to be 440, that's 440 cycles per second. So why does or any other tone, why do these cycles of sound waves make us feel something? And that's kind of the big question.
For instance, here's a C. Happy, 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 do. Or you go,
That's
now
exactly
we're into
right.
a minor. Oh, I miss my baby. She broke my heart in two. What am I going to do? Now we're going into a regular chord. So F. So into A minor, then E minor. Now into F. There's hope coming.
Sure.
G7th.
That's right.
Now where's the banjo?
That's exactly
Can you
right.
play a sad song on a
Think
banjo?
about all
You
of
try,
us
right?
the same.
I think Bela Bartok did, not Bartok, Bela Fleck, he did a couple of those. He did well with that.
Well,
So that's kind of the
really
new
cool
ground, and
stuff.
it's
Wow.
it's it's going to take a lifetime of work to, if it's possible, but it's fascinating.
Okay, Jacob Craig, you are the music director
Director of Music and Arts at First
and arts
Presbyterian.
at First Presbyterian Church right across the street from our studio here, Studio 95, Royal Palm Point. What is the role of music in churches?
So because the function of music, it functions as an emotional response, right? So the function of music in a church should be programming music and musical and artistic experiences that are reflective of worship.
Is it manipulation? Is it pseudo?
No, I don't think it's manipulation. I think it's supplement. I think it's a supplementation because it's like the Mormons did with the Mormon Tabernacle
word.
Choir, music in the spoken word, right?
Yeah.
So we have the spoken word, you have the Bible, you have the sermon, you have all these things ready to be proclaimed and pronounced, and music should help accentuate that. It should help supplement it.
Okay, now you know, I don't want you to I don't want you to become ignoble here, but I have noticed one thing about you, Jacob Craig, and something that I haven't had in life. You have humility. Now, and I like that, particularly with a musician, because it's very difficult, because this goes into my little area of calling. I see people, and I can smell it a mile away when there's pride up there. You might do that in concerts. In the church, I believe you should initiate praise, and then you should disappear. It's the congregations collectively as a whole entering together. Do you agree with that?
100%. It's not a concert. That's where it's different than a concert.
It's not a show.
While we are performing, we are supposed to be engaging all of the people to worship, not showing them a concert.
Jacob Craig is my guest. We'll be back. Now, here's the problem now. Can you stick around?
Actually, I have to go for rehearsal
Where do you have to
with
be?
St. Ed's
What time?
at Trinity at 9:15.
We
You
have
do have to go.
we have
Shucks.
Richard here.
Hi, Richard.
Hello there. How
How are you? Okay, well then, come back.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I mean, we didn't touch the
Maybe
surface.
we can do this
Not yet.
next Wednesday again.
Not yet.
Yeah, okay.
Next Wednesday again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Thanks,
any good?
Steve.
I send you.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Thank you again. Appreciate it very much.
God bless.
Yes, sir.
The problem
Yeah.
is a
Pleasure
genius
to hear
IQ.
you.
That's a problem.
Well, I hope
Well,
you
sir.
can. I hope you're going to be able to take some of my songs, help me record them, and make me a megastar. No, but in all seriousness, though, I don't want to die with my music in me, and I do believe I'm
Yeah.
gifted of the Lord.
Absolutely. All you gotta do is get it down.
I first came to know
Fresh
the Lord when
water.
I was 29, and
How
then I went
are
to a
you?
church about 6 months later, and I was only singing to 6 guys. But just between you and I, that's when I got my anointing and my calling from Him, not from man.
Sir.
So we'll talk about that more in the future, though, because
like
I feel bad at that. I don't want to. You're not supposed to hide your light under a bushel, so to speak.
That's right.
You know, I think we will be responsible if we don't get our gifts out there.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, drive safely. Have
Well,
fun, whatever you're
See you
doing.
tonight.
That was great. Thank
That's
you.
for our friend.
How are you? How was your trip?
He's back again.
Yeah.
Like a bad penny, keeps coming back
Ben,
again.
I'm going to miss Paul though. Who do we have as the foil?
We can pretend he's here and just pick on him.
It's,
We could call him up. You want? We could call him up.
No,
Wanna call
no,
him?
he can't hear.
Oh, we can't hear.
He can't. That's what we thought about. He can't hear.
What's that? Oh, that's
This
your
is-
book.
This is the book I haven't given you.
Yes, you have, but I need to read it.
Oh, yeah.
what is this, man?
You did give it to me, and I
That's
misplaced
the first
it.
book I wrote. How
This
to
is
be
the
wiser
first book
than
you
King
wrote on the
Solomon.
Solomon. Do you know how much? Do you read the Bible at all?
No.
Okay, the book of Proverbs is an amazing book. They say Solomon, who was the wisest guy. Remember, he's the guy who's the two girls come to
Yeah,
him. and
no,
say,
I
yeah.
know a little about the Bible, but I don't read it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you might consider that. You know, we got to save your sorry
No,
soul
I
here.
don't think
because-
so. I have other things. I have other things to read, but I might. Actually, I have thought about it.
Yeah,
Going back and
but
reading.
Proverbs, like for instance, I've learned a lot from going in there. Like Proverbs 28:1, the wicked flee though no one pursue, but the righteous are bold as a lion. You being a man of the badge, the wicked flee though no one pursue, and there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
Interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, great. Good morning, Mr. Kerr.
How are you this morning?
Good.
Good to see you again. Your face again.
Do you need coffee?
Okay.
You need coffee?
No, I'm fine. Thanks. Sir.
Okay, so if you could close that door behind you.
Yeah.
The wicked flee though no one pursue, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Also, there's an answer. There's a proverb in there that says like a soft answer turneth away wrath. Now you might say, well, you already know that. Well,
No, I don't believe it though.
No, but it is true.
Yeah,
If you get,
okay.
I had a guy running my. I was doing a business for him. He owned a big golf club up in upstate New York, Evergreen. Joe Bove. Well, I introduced him to another client of mine who had a carpet business. Well, apparently the carpet guy didn't do such a great job. So he comes up to me on his golf cart, that son of a gun, and you introduced me to him, and blah, 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 F this and F that, and blah, blah, blah. And because I'd read the Bible where it said, a soft answer turneth away wrath, I just stood there and I took it. I accepted
No, I
it.
think you're right. I mean,
And
that's a
then
good.
the wind came out of his sails. It's just like Jesus said, accept this. Now, you slap me across the face right now. I slap you back. Then you punch me. Then I punch you back. Next thing you know, then we're getting out the knives. We kill each other. Whereas if I took the first slap and I don't respond, it takes the wind out of your sails, and you're going to calm down. Your emotions are not going to rule you. And as we all know, emotions should not drive the car. You also don't stick them in the trunk, but they shouldn't drive the car. And when they drive the car, people get wacky. It's just like these people that are killing people in the name of Allah.
Absolutely.
It's emotions. I have a purpose and I'm living for Allah. And Allah's going, hey, you're killing people in my name, bucko, and you're not doing my job. I mean, because Jesus even predicted. He said, they will come one day killing you thinking they're doing my will.
That's amazing.
That's a quote.
I know, that is utterly amazing.
Why is it amazing?
Because it's true.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Yes.
right. He is the truth. He's the way, the truth, and the life.
I know.
No man cometh to the Father except by me.
He really inspired me.
You're preaching today.
Amen, brother. Tell me something. Somebody comes up to, I say, hey, we become friends. Dick, I really care about you, and I know you're your grandfather, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
9 times.
9 times. Well, I'm not. So, is your life more valuable than mine? Whether it is or it isn't, perhaps I have that perception. So a guy comes up with a gun, and I go, "Hey, you can't shoot him. He's the grandfather of 9." And I stand in the way, and I take a bullet for you. Well, you're going to say, "Wow, Rhett died. That guy was my friend. I didn't even know he was that good of a friend. Right?" So, who came to the earth and died for you? Yeah. The greatest one, not just like this.
Well, I mean,
Not just
if
like
you
this.
believe that, I understand why people believe that. I think I just don't. I think that is a creation of, that is man trying to understand life. And that's one explanation. But there have been Christ long before Jesus. There have been people that claimed the same thing.
Oh yeah, that they were going to die for people's sins?
They did, and that they were going to be, people were going to come, God was going to come and save humanity. So, I think man wants this association, wants to understand, and so they create a religion. which I think is fine.
Do you think there's a God?
I would not say there is no God. I wouldn't deny that.
Well, because the Bible says that only the fool believes in his heart there is no God. For all of creation shouts at the glory of God. Look at the intricacies of those flowers right there.
Oh, I agree. I agree that there's.
When is Memorial Day? Monday?
Monday.
Who brought those in?
Mr. B said that every holiday he likes to celebrate.
That's
Now
nice.
there's a gift of God, that Mr. B.
He is a gift of God. He likes his new car, though. He just
Yeah.
his car. He likes it.
I like my new guitar.
We're changing instruments.
We're changing. Yes.
A
He used to
ukulele.
be. He was the deputy
He
director.
doesn't call it
Of the
He has another name for it, really.
You better be nice to him or he'll take you away. Let's do that. Used to be the director of the CIA with an arresting personality. He says he was born that way.
I've been immortalized.
What did you call that? You didn't call it a ukulele. What did you call it?
What did he say it was yesterday? Let's
He
call
just
him up
said
and
it's
ask.
in a
It's a
different
little
key.
guitar.
He just said it's a different key.
No. Hold on.
What'd you do with the paperwork that came with it?
Mr. B, you're fired.
How have you been?
Super.
Call Melody Music.
They're
Calling Melody Music.
Let me see these things.
I wrote an
Thank
article,
you.
op-ed. I haven't written for about 4 months because she changed some words.
That's just
We got to write down.
I wrote one thing that's nice on Troy.
Hold on. I don't know if anybody's there yet.
Melody Music, can I help you?
Hi, this is Rhett Palmer. Is this the owner?
Hey, it's Anthony. How are you doing?
Hey, Anthony. That instrument that I bought last night that's half guitar and half ukulele, I forget what's it called?
It's called a Gitalele.
Hold on, I got to write this down. A gitalele.
Yep. So
Git-
it's G-I-T-A-L-E-L-E.
Gitalele. Gitalele. Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
Have a good day.
It gives you a gilly up in your gilly. Giddy up in your gilly. Okay.
Gitalele. Git, like a guitar. I was sitting by the water, singing my little song, when this lady come with her gitalele, said, "Now, boy, get along." I just gotta write something to those keys, the chords. I love my new little thing, man.
Why did you get it?
Because it's
Fun.
yeah, hold on. I was sitting down by the ocean, singing myself a song, when this pretty baby lady, she come strolling along. She said, "What is that guitar, that funny thing in your hand, man?" I said, "That's a gitalele, baby. I'm a gitalele man." She said, "I am a mermaid, and I just came from the sea. And would you like to put on your suit and come swimming with me? I'll teach you the ways of the sea and the ocean's deep. And then we can exhaust ourselves and wake up from a deep sleep." Well, well, don't trust no lady who says she's a mermaid. says that she's come for your soul to save. She'll snatch you and she'll grab you and she'll break your heart in two. And then when you think you own her, she'll disappear into the deep, deep blue. Well, now I'm sitting broken hearted down by the sea, playing my guitar in misery. Oh, I'm so sad and I'm lonesome and so blue. I wish I never met that mermaid who came out of the deep dark blue.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
You like that?
You
You
made money
very
on
good.
that one.
Huh?
You
That's very
adapted
good.
to that so
Wrote it right off the cuff.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I could put that stuff on YouTube and say no song has been cut, edited, it comes right out of the guy, that like that. That's a whole little story song. Isn't that a fun little story song?
That's a great song.
Yeah.
You're good.
What could we name that one? The Mermaid?
The Mermaid. I mean, no
Mermaid.
other name.
The
right?
Mermaid. Okay, that's what I thought. Mermaid by the Sea?
They're made by the sea.
yeah.
Here we go. You're in your open.
Okay. Mermaid by the Sea.
Can you imagine doing that, sitting here singing, playing a ukulele?
Yeah, I can imagine him doing that.
You doing it?
No, I don't do anything like that.
That's what I mean. Not many people can do that. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Richard has 10 killing moves, too. Not many people can do 10 killing moves.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have Stanford Erickson, former White House correspondent and editor and book writer, written books about our presidents. Good morning, Stanford
Good
Erickson.
morning. Nice to be here. Nice to have you with your new instrument of music.
Yeah, I went into melody music yesterday. Well, you have to hear my new song, Mermaid by the Sea. It's inspiring. You know, Harlan Howard was a famous songwriter in Nashville. And they said, what are you doing buying a new guitar for? And he would say, he's now passed away, but he would say, there's only so many songs on the guitar. Now, obviously somebody else can pick up the same guitar and continue to write songs. But it's just the little nuances like that song. But while we're on commercial break, I wrote a new song today called Mermaid by the Sea. And isn't it amazing that the inspiration of this guitalele, it's called a guitalele, and it's half guitar, half ukulele. And I can play my regular chords so I don't have to learn new chords as you do on the ukulele. Suddenly, my grandmother used to play ukuleles, but ukuleles suddenly have come back in style. We also have a man who has an arresting personality. He's Dick Reed, right?
Dick Kerr.
Dick Kerr. Why do I always want to call him Reed? That's the second time I've done that.
Well, a slim reed.
Kerr. Maybe it's Kerr?
K-E-R, just like the
I got
jar.
it right. Okay.
You're right.
I don't know why I see this. Anyway, he's the former deputy director of the CIA.
You bet.
You bet. Now, you better watch out what you say here, because if I ask him the wrong questions, he may have to kill me. You've heard that joke, of course. I'm
Oh,
sure.
yes, I have.
And you have been in the company. Since I saw you last, I went to the White House.
I understand. I've been to Nashville.
You were in Nashville since I saw you last.
That's right.
That's funny. What were you doing in Nashville? Because I moved here from Nashville. You moved here from Washington.
A grandson graduated from Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. Whoa. Hubba,
Yeah.
hubba, hubba, hubba. That's impressive. What's he going to be?
He's a computer scientist.
Is he?
He already has a job with Microsoft. He's been studying.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, I
What's
know.
starting salary? $250,000 a year?
No, but it's very good for a young guy just out of
Oh
college.
my word. computer scientist.
Yeah, well, he spent 2 years as a summer intern with Microsoft. You know, they're very clever. They hire people immediately when they go to college. Sometimes they hire them before they start
When they pay
school.
for the college, that's very smart.
Well, he had a scholarship there, so he
From
was,
Microsoft or
no, he got it some other way. He's a very good entrepreneur. He's a very bright, very good little guy.
We got a lot of good kids coming up, these millennials. As a matter of
You
fact,
bet.
Beverly Osler is in here too. Good morning, Beverly.
Good morning.
She's our concierge, and she works now in the advertising department and promotion department, I guess. And she wears many hats here. How are you?
Many hats, and I love every hat.
You also are very proud of a granddaughter.
She just got her PhD in ophthalmology.
Ophthalmology, an ophthalmic surgeon. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, she's
Lives where in Portland?
Portland, Oregon.
She's the one you set up a date with me, and then I didn't get to meet with her.
And it's so too bad. She really looked forward to
I
meeting
really
you.
want to meet her next time. Maybe we'll get to break bread together, you know. And I don't mean a date, ladies and gentlemen, as in a date. She's this young lady, she's the
30
granddaughter of
years
my friend.
old.
Yeah,
She's
she's
not
30
so
years
young.
old. Oh, she's 30?
Yes.
Really?
You thought of
And she just got, well, I thought, she's like 23 or something. But 30, she's that old. Hey, Dick, how old are you, 84?
No, 81.
81, you're a youngster in this town. How about you? How old are you?
I'm 78, but
You are.
That's physically. Mentally, I fit with you, Rhett, very well.
You do. And I can remember when, you used to think 78 was old.
Oh,
No doubt. I think 78 is like the new 58. Seriously.
Yeah, what's 81 then?
81, not much more. He's 78 now. It's only 3 years difference. So you're like 62.
and he's
Oh,
in
good.
good
You're
shape.
my age.
Thank
He's in
God.
good shape.
You're my age, man. But
I
It is
feel
funny
like
how-
36. But I'm not telling you my age.
guess whose birthday it is next month? David Walsh.
That's right.
Yeah, on the 5th. Wow. Yeah, it's 5th. He's going to be, I don't know if he wants me to, but anyway. He should be proud of it. It's just wonderful. The longevity that some people have and the clarity of mind. He has more of a clear mind than some 50-year-olds I know. You're not doing too bad yourself.
Yeah, I'm holding in
Mr.
there.
Kerr,
Holding in.
has it occurred to you that working at the CIA maybe helped you build those synapses across your brain? Or
It does. I think keeping alert, reading, keeping active, I think that's what keeps you going.
you're still in touch too, because you're on some what do you call it? You're a
Oh, I'm on a board,
on
board
of
corporate
directors.
board. Yeah,
I got to stand up here because of my leg.
yeah. No, I try to keep active, and I'm involved in a few things in Washington, but not much. I'm pretty much retired at this stage.
Yeah. With what's going on in the world today, the attacks we've experienced recently in England, the experiences we've had in France, the atrocity out in California, it just goes on and on and on.
You know, we forget these each time. They happen, and then we move on.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I find that I did about 2 years ago. I did a story about Islam, radical Islam, for 32963 and for another newspaper, and I was surprised in doing the research.
You mentioned my competition on the air, but that's okay.
Yeah, well,
Put out your hand now. Put
That's
out your
right.
hand. It's supposed to be the other side.
But the thing about it that I was struck by is, there's a lot of polling about some very good polls
Yeah.
about radical Islam.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people in the Islamic world really believe in Sharia law. They support violence. The numbers are very high. People say, well, there's only 2% of the Muslim population is radical, but 2% of 1.9 billion people is a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like 40 million people. They showed recently on TV that there was a taxi driver in London, and he was Muslim. Well, this is a good-hearted man. And of course, they focused on him, and he was willing. He took families back and forth, didn't charge anybody all night long. Here you've got to. Well, of course, they're pushing that on the liberal TV because they want you to think that the majority of Muslims are like this, and it does sway you. Like, well, maybe their hope, but the thing is with Islam, and I don't know. You haven't met my friend with two names, Marshall Frank. Marshall Frank has 13 books to his credit, and he's written 2 on Islam. And really, he was a former
Policeman.
homicide detective down in
Yeah.
Miami for 31, 32 years. And so he really does his homework. And he says that, Islam has always been promoted by the sword. And that the Crusades, there are people that will say the Crusades, look at the terrible Christians. But wasn't it because they were picked on so much, and they were being murdered by the Muslims? Finally, they decided that they would get together, and they got on a parade and said
Well, the
they're gonna go
Crusade,
down.
I mean, very complicated. Both sides, you can argue,
Okay.
Sure, the Crusades were going to Jerusalem, take back the holy site,
Yeah.
and to drive the infidels, if you will, out of Jerusalem.
Yeah, they're still trying to do that today.
And it works both ways, I mean, they were not necessarily pure of heart, although many were. I would be surprised if they
What do
were.
you think about the newfound friendship that Trump has established with, going to the Wailing Wall? I hadn't realized. Have you been to the Wailing Wall?
I have.
Me too. And have you been to the Wailing Wall?
No, I have not.
Well, you need to go to the Wailing Wall.
It is.
You need some prayer, boy.
It is impressive.
It is impressive. Why no presidents before this, and why did Trump, do you think?
Because it's claimed by both the Muslims and the
So
the
he's
Jews.
honoring, because it's
And-
the holy city.
Right, and to go there implies a favoritism. It was interesting. I thought the most interesting part of it was Netanyahu wanted to go with him to the wall, and Trump said no. He did not want him to go, and the reason was clear, that he did not want to show a bias toward the Jews. He wanted to go
Very wise
to
of him. He's a negotiator.
It's wise, but it's also shows that somebody is paying attention to the complexity of both Jewish and Arab sensitivities.
Yeah.
And
Well, it doesn't take a great deal of thought, really, to come up with this. But to get them to listen.
no, somebody's got to pay
You
attention.
know what amazes me? Is now I was just in Washington, as I said. And now I've been to Washington a couple other times in my youth, 6th grade, and later on as an adult. This time I was seduced. This time it was a wonderful experience. The Congressman Posey was there to greet me and us, Barbara and I. And then his wife took us through a private tour of the White House.
That's
I
great.
got to meet Rand Paul's wife. I got to meet the senator from Wisconsin, his wife. Got to meet a whole bunch of people. But now, as an older man, I can understand being seduced by, not just by the power, but by the position of thinking you have some influence and giving you purpose in life. And it's wonderful, because going on right in those halls as you're walking through them, history is being made, lives are being decided. And it's quite extraordinary, and I can understand now for the first time in my life, if I had been extremely successful financially when I was younger, where I could say, hey, what am I going to do next? And if you touch that, touch that fire up there, you could be seduced by it and want to be in the midst of it,
Well, I spent 35 years in Washington, and probably the last 10 years, I was a fairly regular visit to the White House. I never went without being impressed.
Really?
Without feeling this sense of
Never became
jaded. I always thought it was a privilege, and but I came from I didn't grow up in kind of highfalutin family or with a lot of prestige. So to me, everything was pretty exciting, even to the end. It was of my career. It was exciting.
Well, if you hear some of my songs, I hope you'll get my patriotic record someday if you'd like to listen to it. A song about me washing dishes as a kid in an Italian restaurant. I shined shoes. I sold lemonade. And I'm a nobody, just a kid that's a regular common kid from Poughkeepsie, New York. And wasn't even good enough to play golf with the rest of the family, even though we belonged to 3 clubs. I was out selling lemonade, but I was always the entrepreneur type, But so me too. I'm like you. I come from fairly humble background and not as humble as some, obviously, but going there is like, I'd like to go. I'd like to be in. I want to go to that Oval Office. You've been in the Oval Office.
I have.
Did you see the Oval Office?
No.
Yeah, I went about 2 months ago and I saw the Oval Office.
Yep.
I went at night because then the president's not there, so you could see
Yeah,
the
they
Oval
didn't
Office.
want to subject him to you, huh?
Probably, but you know, I covered.
Erickson's got connections, okay, but we midnight. You can
Yeah.
bring him through midnight. Don't tell anybody.
But I cover as a journalist. We would never in those days. We were never on the first floor. We were always in the basement.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to be on the first floor this time was exciting for me to really see those rooms because I covered the White House. Not
Now, how were you privileged to go on this tour?
Nancy, my wife, has a niece who worked for Obama.
Oh,
And
so
so-
you went when Obama was there.
We went with Obama there, and when I came, they fumigated the office after I left, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I know.
Now, Mr. B, was that laugh on the radio? Because if you ever want, like 5 years down the line, if you do want to raise Mr. B, part of that will be if you put on the mic, because it's infectious for the listeners to hear you laugh. He's laughing uproariously in there, and it's only for his own entertainment. This is radio. It's like the people coming on here nodding. Do not nod behind that glass, Mr. B. Yeah, well, you are our token Democrat. You know that, don't you? Yeah, well, and Beverly.
And Beverly.
Beverly won't
No,
admit
I'm
to
the
it.
independent.
independent. I hide behind my independent label.
He always has to label people. So if you're going to label me, I'm an
We're
independent.
going to categorize and finalize and pigeonhole you. We know exactly where you begin and where you end. But that ain't the truth. Nobody's there. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway,
I think
Dick, did you read the speech that the president gave in Riyadh?
I did.
What did you think of the speech?
I thought it was impressive. I thought it was impressive because, for one thing, he challenged the Islamic world to take a stand against radicalism and to do something. It was fairly forceful to be in the presence of the king.
78 countries were there.
Yeah.
Muslim countries.
Yeah, this is not something that that presidents ordinarily do. I mean, he was conciliatory in some ways, but he also laid down kind of a challenge, and
yes,
it was very
to
clear.
get rid of violent.
He said it was your
extremists.
responsibility.
Whoa, that was good.
And I thought-
did they embrace it? Did they accept it? I wonder.
They certainly, you didn't see any signs of rejection. It's hard to know. Haven't had a chance to read the press and read blogs and things about it. Some of the critics and the real experts of the Middle East were critical of the speech. They thought, for instance,
It's easy to be a critic.
they thought he gave a little too much credit to the king of Saudi Arabia and he should be condemned for his
Blah
actions.
blah 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 blah. It's so easy for me to criticize.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely.
Oh, you took your wife. Your wife made this home. She sewed this shirt for you. It's homemade. She worked on it for 6 months, and I come and say, well, maybe it could have been a little more white. It slapped the boy across the face. It's like, who are you to come as a Monday morning court? It's so easy. It's so inferior to be a flippant critic.
It is.
Try standing on the front line.
Yeah. I thought, again, I don't know what, Stanford, your view was, but I thought it was an outstanding speech,
I
given
thought-
the circumstance.
I thought so as well. And I thought what he was trying to point out is that he said it's evil. He said this
Yep.
kind of action is evil. He was taking a theological stance against those that are Muslims that kill people.
Just like he called those people in England. He said they're losers and they're cowards.
Yes.
And they're losers and cowards.
Yeah,
And
there
they-
are people
being
now
criticized.
there are people now who are saying, well, that's a bad choice of words. But in many
a
ways,
bad choice
it's
of
the
words.
perfect
Shut
choice.
up.
Yeah, it's a perfect choice because it belittles them and puts them in the right place.
Got to take a break. We'll be back.
Yeah,
I
that's,
think
that's
I think
I
that
felt the
was
same
right
way.
to call them losers because that's what they are.
they are.
Yes.
And but all all these critics are saying, well, you shouldn't say this.
Oh, should've,
It just aggravates them more and they'll bomb us more.
You might want to talk, if you have a moment, if you might want to talk a little bit about, did you see Brennan's testimony? John Brennan, the former head of CIA,
No.
in the Congress, up in the Congress
Let's do that.
on Friday. Was it Friday?
Yes, Friday in terms of talking about
Kind of some interesting words from John
This-
about
Russia and
about Trump and the this whole issue of collusion, which I find interesting. Have you looked up the word collusion? What it means?
No. Okay, hold on a second. Hey Siri, what does collusion mean?
Would you like some coffee?
Collusion means secret or
With the
illegal
sweet.
collaboration
Secret or illegal cooperation? Excuse me.
in order to cheat or deceive others.
Okay, to see secret illegal cooperation to conspire, especially in order to deceive others.
Conspiracy, kind of interesting. Then you tell me, this is one of the things that might be worth discussing, and that is, think of the worst thing that could have happened between the Russians and Trump. What can you imagine is the worst thing they could have agreed to do in the sense of a conspiracy?
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? What would you come up with? I can't come up with anything.
What do you mean?
A conspiracy implies some plot or intent to do something. So here you have Trump and the Russians plotting to, tell me again what it
win
is.
the election. They wanted him to have the election.
No, they really didn't. Well,
Why?
all right, so maybe they did, but they were plotting with him to win the election. I mean, it just, this whole thing is silliness.
Well, what's going to happen here? You see, do you remember the boy who cried wolf?
Yes, you're.
So the Democrats should be waiting and picking their battles and picking their wars
I think.
because they're right. You agree with me?
I think you're
They're
absolutely.
going blah 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 blah. Now when something really is legitimate, no, it's you again.
Yeah. Going to pay no attention.
Well, that is because by and large the Democrats are run by their hearts. It's a good thing. As my grandfather said, my heart is with the Democrats, but my brain is with the Republicans. And somewhere in the middle we need to meet. Because, they have the image that Republicans are cold-hearted and don't care.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Well, it's like you go up to a Democrat and you say, hey, I need some money. I mean, you could say this and say, okay, so I'll give you $50. And they go, hey, Dick, give me $50 so I can give it to him. Whereas a Republican will say, I'm not going to give you money, but if you want to borrow some to start a business and work by the sweat of your brow, let's talk about it. And that's the way it should be. Even the Bible says if a man does not work, if a man does not work, neither shall he eat. He ain't gonna get no vegetables, ain't gonna get no meat. You gotta work like everybody does. You just gotta work. Don't ask me because.
How'd you ever stop being in the music business in terms of a performer?
I think I got dissuaded.
By whom?
Nashville, it's you run into these jerks that are really not musicians, and they sort of. And I bought the Monster, and I got scared and left. I got turned down a lot in New York City by publishers when I was 19. I take the bus down there, and I get turned down by every publisher. I went home with my tail between my legs. Then I went to Nashville, and why do you think I should have stuck with it, huh?
You're good at it.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult because I feel today, well, I could be riding around like Garth in my own private jet, and
But it's not. That's not. I mean.
no, but I could. I think I would do a lot of good had I.
But you often turn this all into money, and
Well,
I don't
because-
think you really think that. Do you?
Well, the way to shut somebody up like me is to give the guy $10 million and he'll shut up, and then you go, because you're right, money isn't going to make you happy. Once you're over the hurdle of not having to worry, I don't want to have to worry. I don't want to worry, no.
don't want to worry about what I reap and I sow. I just want some shoes that ain't got holes in the soles. I just wanna go swimming and dance a do-si-do. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Because everything right there doing that, they're creating a lot of problems. If you don't mind. You need to respect that.
Hey, sweet baby, would you like to go dancing with me? Hey, sweet baby,
Changing my view a little
would you
bit
like
on
to go
Rhett.
dancing with me?
I've been very skeptical about it. I know him personally.
The three of us are going to get together
Well,
Monday
Let's go back to
night
that.
to work on your
Let's
book.
finish up on this segment and
Yeah.
then go into the
Yeah.
Okay.
You do it though. Take the lead.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because
You got to do it, Brett.
since the
And I
audience
have
is
some
Hold on a second.
this, I
ideas.
just would like you to expand on it.
Yeah,
Hey,
follow it up.
sweet baby, would you like to go dancing with me? We can get together and dance neath that apple tree. I like to swing you to and fro, and we'll fall in love, baby. Ain't that the way it's supposed to go? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me swing you up and down and around once again. I love to dance, baby. I love to wear my dancing shoes. When I'm dancing, baby, I can't sing no blues. Well, if we could get the whole world dancing, we'd be so happy and free. We'd end all the wars and all these calamities. So come on, baby, take your lover's hand, come dancing down with me. We'll all have a good time in Eden down by the apple tree.
Now, is that a new one?
Yep,
Oh, yeah. He
Just wrote it.
He's
you like it?
very
Yeah.
talented that
I like that one too. That was kind of
But
cool.
what Jacob was pointing out is different instruments. That's a
Last
treble
spot
instrument.
open is next.
That's a treble instrument.
Did you like
so
it?
That
Yeah.
permits you to sing with a more.
My son plays the mandolin. He's been struggling with it. He's not a natural musician, but he works incredibly hard every day. And just, I mean, he plays with groups around, small groups.
Put headphones on for Stump the Rhett after the open.
But I'm impressed by your ability
Thank
to kind
you.
of do it ad lib.
Dance by the apple tree.
But I can only do that when I'm with people. I can only do that when I'm with people that I feel comfortable with. If I felt you were not in my corner, I would shut right down. I
Or a
couldn't do
critic.
it. I feel free around her. Obviously, I feel free around you guys. But if somebody's critical,
Well, that doesn't bode well for playing in front of an audience, right? Or does it?
well,
I mean,
it is difficult. You can. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the mayor of the airways, and of course we have the former deputy director of not the White House, of the CIA here, and he is
Dick Kerr.
Dick Kerr. Hello, Dick. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good to have you here. We also have former White House correspondent.
Stanford Erickson,
Okay.
and I'm a really nervous when I'm around the CIA as a journalist.
I'm nervous when I'm around journalists.
Well, we understand, Dick, that you have an arresting personality. All right, Mr. B. How's everybody doing? Could you turn my mic up, because we're getting like an unattractive echo on my. I'll just turn mine up there. Yeah, that's much better. Thank you, sir. How are you, Mr. B? What time is it, Mr. B?
It's time to stump the red. You can win a prize if you can catch Rhett in one of his common lies. Anyway, okay, so
Fake news.
Stump the Rhett. Stump the Rhett. Yeah, okay. So how are you? So what's the Stump the Rhett thing too? Yeah, we can't hear you too well. You need to turn up your microphone, Mr. B. There, much better. Good-looking guy. He grew old gracefully, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Well, who's the James Bond?
Sean Connery.
No, not John. Not John Connolly. Sean Connery. Well, strike it off, shirt. Every good woman needs a slap across the face now and then. No, but the other guy, who's the other? Pierce Bronson,
Yes.
also played 007. Do you know that he's been spotted right here in Vero Beach, out at Point West? Mm-hmm. Go tell him. Go tell him.
I don't know.
Go give that to him. Yes. Okay, what's the question? Seven. I got it right? Just pulled it out of the hat. Oh no! This is how we see. He wants somebody to win that gift certificate, you know. Oh, well, we already said that on the air. Okay, well, we'll wait. Okay, well, so what are they going to win if they call in here? Well, you're giving away all my gift certificates. Yeah. We'll also give them a complimentary car wash at Suds and Shine over there on 12th, where you can get a car wash on Thursdays if you're a female for $3. Yeah.
Got a phone call.
Here comes our winner. Hello? Hello? Mr. B is talking to this person. Yeah. Mr. B, don't go giving them the answer now. Okay. You're leaving us without a show here. Go ahead and put them on. Go ahead and put them on, Mr. B. So, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't know why Mr. B thinks he has to filter the calls. You don't have to do that. Just put them right on. Are you calling in response to Mr. B's contest here?
Yeah, I think it's maybe David Niven.
David Niven. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't think so. Is that right? Now, yeah, what is your name?
I'm Jack Schwein.
Jack Schwein. Okay, where are you from, Jack?
I'm originally from Vero. Right?
Oh, you are? Wow. You're a rarity, an oddity.
I remember a lot here.
I know when I got here that there was no mall, there was no Indian River Boulevard from Grand Harbor where I lived. I had to go via US 1. A lot of things have changed. The gardens were not there. They were shut down. The what's the famous garden there on US 1? It was the number.
McKee.
Yeah.
It's now McKee Botanical, but that was a big facility. And I remember as a kid, it was real run down. You could go in there and visit, but it was very kind of neglected.
Well, that was the #1 destination for tourists for years, and then they built 95, and that stopped the traffic on 1, right?
And Disney.
Right, and here we go again. I remember no 95 here. Route 6 is a two-lane road. There was no John's Island, no mooring. That's when I was a really
Yeah.
Very tiny place.
What else? Tell us something else about your childhood memories down here that would be interesting. I mean, first of all, are you irritated that all these Yankees have come? Well, you know what a damn Yankee is, right? A Yankee is somebody from up north. A damn Yankee is one that comes down and stays.
No, we have a lot of friends across the board, and I see it as there's a positive to it. We've got, there's so many more things to do here. My goodness, you had the growth for things to do for kids and so forth, but now there's overload activities for all of us within a couple hours of Orlando, and we feel more fortunate about it. But of course, there's a breaking point with population, but it's still a beautiful place.
Oh, this is a great town. I just came back from Atlanta the other day, and wow, that traffic. I mean, I just the living. I hate to say it, but they're living like wild animals. Everywhere seriously, we went up to Amicalola Falls, which is way up in northern Georgia. It's beautiful and peaceful up there. But going through Georgia, going through Connecticut a couple of years ago, out in L.A., just any of these any cities now, it's just our overpopulated. We haven't, well, since I moved to Vero Beach 23 years ago, the population has increased, 125 million people in the United States of America. So for every 3 cars you used to see on the road, now you see another 2, right?
That's correct.
So.
That's correct. Well, you can take that and just translate it into much of the world of places that we visited repeatedly over the years. Numerous places you can see the population growth, having seen it before from years back, and then you go back and I can think of a number of places that we've got. Costa Rica, go there about every 10 years, and my goodness, that place is just. I checked the population in 30 some years; it's almost doubled.
Wow.
It's very interesting, but we still have a real gem here that we.
Oh yes.
Found this county, we're very lucky.
Well, because of the building code, if it stays that way. The only thing is, first of all, how old are you?
I'm just on the edge of being 60.
Okay, I'm 63. What do you do for a living in town?
I've been in the real estate business for a number of years.
Oh, what firm are you with?
I've worked for myself.
And the name of the firm is?
Schwei Real Estate.
Okay, Schwei Real Estate. Now.
I deal in acreage and developments.
Oh,
Used to deal in developments until that went flat.
well, I should talk to you sometime because I need to invest because the only sound investment around today is real estate. But up here on A1A, my friend, what's the name of the movie with the 2 guys on the hotel? The one where the lady gets killed in the shower. Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
What's the name of that?
Bates Hotel.
Bates Hotel. Okay, Bates Hotel. So we're having another trivia question here. So we're at the Bates Hotel. So anyway, John Bates used to own up there, the former Days Inn there, which just got sold. I guess a few years ago he tried to sell for $22 million, and then the city father said, you can sell it, John, but we're not going to let you put condos up there. Now here it is, 12, 15 years later, he sells it for $12 million, and what's going up there? These condos, and I drive by the other night, and guess what they have? Did you see that? Red lights on the front. All red. It looks like, you know what a red light district is. I can't believe these people did this. It's all red lights. It's horrible. Go by there at night. Well, it's ludicrous. And the point is that the city people now allow them to put up the condos. The exact thing that when who was the former police chief that became a city council? No, not city council. City manager. I forget his name now.
Here in this town?
Yeah, in this town. Yeah, Gabbard. Gabbard is the one that wouldn't let them put up condos there. Now Gabbard's gone. Now they're allowing them to put up condos, and it's just we need more beds in this town for hotels and motels. Well, it's ludicrous. So, and you know what's going to happen now? Some dum-dums are going to come along, just like these dum-dums now allowing this, and some dum-dums, dumber dums are going to come along, and they're going to allow the height restrictions to be released, and that'll be the end of Vero Beach as we know it.
Well, you're probably correct.
I think, Mr. Schweier, I think we should give him the gift certificate anyway for the history lesson.
I think that Mr. Schweier deserves a gift. Would you like to go to C.J. Cannon's and have breakfast or lunch on us? You'd
I'm
li-
very flat, and the answer is yes, and I'm very flattered you're going to provide this, even though I didn't win the contest.
Well, but you did know about the Bates Hotel. So see, I kind of snuck another trivia question in there for you.
Yeah, I
And,
listen to you. You've got some wonderful guests on with a whole, a wide range of talent. It's really fascinating. I can think of Dr. Mallon, and who's the writer detective? He's very, very good. He's written books.
Marshall Frank.
Marshall Frank, yeah.
Marshall Frank, he's really something. And then all the rest of the people there.
I thought Stanford Erickson was pretty good too.
That was Stanford.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well,
You know,
if you don't toot your own horn, who's going to toot it for you?
you know, we're going to have to send you a bill, Stanford, for that one. So.
Thank you. I've got to run.
Well, Mr. Shway, thanks for calling, and stop by either today or tomorrow whenever it's too convenient. Like to meet you, shake your hand, and we're usually here till at least 12 noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and we'll give you your gift certificate, and who knows, I might even get you to invite me to go with you, and then you can buy lunch for us both.
Oh my goodness. Well, great program. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for calling. Always good to hear from somebody local. Let's take a little break, and then we'll come back. You're tuned into the mayor of the airways, Rhett Palmer, 23 years on the air because of nice listeners like Mr. Shway. And we'll come back. We have Dick
Kerr.
Kerr, who I always want to call Reed. Dick Kerr.
That's all right.
But if Beverly would give you the name tag, she thinks you've been here so many times you don't need it, but
No.
we do. And so Dick Kerr, former not White House, CIA director, deputy director of the CIA, and of course we have Stanford Erickson in here.
Who self-promotes himself all the time. Yes.
Yes. What's the name of your newest book?
What kind of women could be president of the United States?
Gonna have to charge you for that. We'll be right back.
Beauty magazine, Castle Connolly and OMD have in common. They have all
You're playing the Mercedes ad, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to put it in. It's not in the log because it's supposed to be done live. So I'll put it in this.
Thank you
this,
for
half
editing
hour.
those, by the way.
Well, we should put it in the log anyway because it sounds live, and that way, in case I don't get to do it because someone stole my papers here. I don't know where my paper. We've got to have people stop taking my papers.
No, there
I
all
looked
your
around. I
papers
thought I
are
put
right
them in a
there.
folder,
Send my
but
letter.
they're gone out of there.
They can promote you, especially the one with the dog.
Well, there.
Obama's dog.
Nothing.
Or the president.
And that's
dog.
very,
That is
very
it.
important. And by
That's
the way,
fun.
if you can't hear, I can't enter. What do you want me to do? Stop the show? I mean, then
thought
I'm
you
going.
were-
Stop. Let's stop the show from now. And she's over here. She couldn't hear in her headset, so I got. Oh, let's stop the show. Let's stop. 20,000 people. So I got to stop the show. We got to fix the headset. And then he's not close enough to the microphone. No, I got to play the good guy here. You got to be tougher and come in here and fix this stuff when something's wrong, or go see him. What did you want? What did you want me to do?
I just
mean, I'm in the
thought
middle,
you-
and then with my ADHD, then I can't even remember what I'm talking about.
I
So
thought-
it's extra hard for me,
I
you know.
thought you were going to just kind of him like.
No, I can't do that. I got to do it for him. He's not coming close enough. You haven't the whole day. His mic is not up high enough. Stanford's mic,
Okay, just listen to me. The headphones are down all the time, so we don't have any freaking squeals. And Beverly keeps going in and out, in and out, in and out. So I don't know when she's in there, and I don't know when she's
Oh,
not
she
in
wants
there.
you to stay in
So I
here or
turned
do coming
hers
out. Okay.
down because she wasn't in there.
Give it to him, Beverly. Suck him in the face there.
He can talk about the Mossad.
I got to take care of that.
I'll get it into it. Because it'd be nice. Everything I read is that the Mossad has undermined the peace operation, and maybe for good reason. Now, with Obama,
Which peace operation?
between the Palestinians and Iran, Palestinians and the United States and Israel, Mossad has really created more harm than good. Now, when Obama was doing this, the former head of the Mossad said, "Oh, nothing's wrong with Iran." I mean, it did a 180-degree undermining Benjamin Netanyahu. I think they like turmoil, is what I'm saying. I think it's, I've read so much about the Mossad, and part of turmoil is useful to them. That's as I see it. But
I don't, I don't know. They operate. I mean, they've always operated it pretty independently.
Yeah, but don't talk now. Just if you respond
Yeah.
to that, okay? Because you have a perspective on them that we don't have. But everything I read, as a journalist who wrote an international, every Russian I ever, Soviet in those days, you knew they were KGB, and all the Chinese people I met, everybody, all were intelligence. I mean, that's the only people I interacted with because they controlled the society that much.
Yeah, they did.
And they were the most,
The best educated.
they were the brilliant people. They
Yep.
were absolutely. I enjoyed being around because the mind was so good.
They were the only people allowed
Yes,
to think,
yes, yes.
which
And
could be dangerous. That's
And,
the
and they liked me in the sense that I was straight with them. I was honorable with them, and I wasn't trying to get them, because I knew who they were.
Oh, brother. Put the air down a little more, would you? Put it down to 65.
But Rhett, if we could go back in terms of Trump's visit to Israel and the intelligence people there are the Mossad, and they have done great harm, in my opinion. But he would have greater insight than I. You have two great songs. That first one, you can make money off. That first one's a fantastic song.
music is your form of relaxation, clearly.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Your release.
Please release me, let me go.
Now, but you can't think of anything else can you, when you're playing music?
Oh, sure.
My son keeps saying, when I'm doing that, I don't worry about anything.
Stand by.
I don't think about other things. That's a lot smoother.
Just sailing down the lazy river. Ain't got no plans, no place to go. I'm just thinking about my baby. Don't you know I gotta roll and get back home? Oh, 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 oh.
Anyway, it's another beautiful day in paradise, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Has that guitar just about run out of songs?
No, probably not.
Because you said earlier they only have so
I
many
hope
songs
not.
in them.
I hope not. You never know.
Yeah.
Now, I'll take that over to Melody Music and get some new strings put on there and freshen it up a little bit. And in the meantime, then I got my ukulele.
That hasn't run out yet.
I got my new ukulele, got a lot of songs in it, it's true. Just hold on, folks, and I'll sing a brand new song for you.
Anyway, I like the sound of that thing. It's kind of fun, huh? So, former deputy director of the CIA to this.
And you thought you were a big shot.
No, I never did.
No?
My wife and all kept me in gave me a good balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always knew what I was, and I wasn't going to be there forever.
Yeah. And I somehow I think the good Lord above, who you're not sure about what to call him, whatever, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think there's a good Lord above.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that I think that people that have humility have favor with him. And I think he resists the proud, because that's actually biblical, right?
I don't think he cares.
I do.
Do you think he cares about me individually and you?
Well, okay. You would think not. For the small-minded, it's so incredibly, they're finding now the molecules within the molecules, and they have the camera equipment to photograph them. And did you know on your body right now,
you are a civilization of cells. You have more little beings alive on your body than there are humans in the world. Billions or trillions. Okay? They now can photograph. You have these things that look like little lobsters on your...
What does that have to do with the divine being?
Okay. He is so... We have no concept. You know, we can barely feed ourselves. As Bob Dylan said, it's the wonder we can even feed ourselves.
Yeah,
it's the truth. We eat breakfast, we eat lunch, we eat dinner, we eat snacks, we defecate, and we procreate. And then in between, we're thinking about how we're going to, we got to get some sleep, so we got to build some blankets. Then we got to make some money so we can buy some blankets. And then we got to eat some more. And then we got to procreate some more. And we really don't really accomplish that much. And we're so stupid, we kill each other and maim each other when there's so much beauty in the world. Think how stupid we are. So the scriptures say, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither has entered the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them. We have no idea of eternity. So yes, as crazy as it sounds when a little old lady says, I prayed to the Lord for a parking spot, and then I got one. Well, you know, one day I asked for a parking spot, you know. I was over here at Miracle Mile. I said, Lord, would you help me find a parking spot? And I drove around 3 times. I finally found one. I pulled in and said, that's okay, I found one.
Could we go back to, since we have the deputy director, former deputy director.
That's terrible.
We have the former director of the CIA here. We had the president in Israel. And my understanding in reading this and being a journalist and covering this is that the Mossad, which is the intelligence agency of Israel, has done more harm in terms of the peace. What we're trying to get peace between the Palestinians and Israel, and also dealing with Iran, the United States. But the Mossad prefers turmoil, has been my experience. The Mossad. Richard, you dealt with these.
Do you think have you met people from this?
Oh, yes.
You think they want peace?
I think, I guess I might disagree with Stanford in the sense that I'm not sure they don't want peace, but they're very realistic and hard-nosed about what that means and what trying to get peace means. So they're not going to march into a peace negotiation and give stuff away.
Dick Kerr is the former deputy director of the CIA, now lives in Vero Beach, Florida. Can you stick around for another half an hour?
I wouldn't miss it.
Okay, and Stanford Erickson, you can stick around?
I love being here.
All right, this is the mayor of the Airways. By the way, got a brand new car, got a GLE, the new Mercedes GLE Ware at Fort Pierce Mercedes. Got great treatment down there, always get good service down there. Mark is my salesman. If you go down there and want to test drive a GLE or an E-Class, Barbara has the E-Class. Fabulous dealership, fabulous people. Ask for Mark at Fort Pierce Mercedes. You will love them, baby.
You must be doing pretty well to afford these expensive cars.
I managed to make the payments. Actually, I had the Nissan, and what happened is I lost $100,000 a year because I used to get a free car, a new car every 6 months, and then close to about $80,000 a year. But
see, I didn't know that she wasn't here this segment because the Facebook camera was that way, and I can't see
now,
over here.
Now, Mr. B, you have to apologize for getting so irritable with Beverly. Say you're sorry for getting so aggravated.
I'm sorry for getting aggravated, but I can't.
Well, yeah, but
you know, the
can't.
mic's up, the mic's down.
She's coming and she's going out. She's coming and she's going out.
That's right.
Well,
then when it comes time for there's no mic.
You know,
because she's not even in here.
Life is hell.
Yeah, I know. And then you come
Then
in
you
from
die.
7:30
Yeah, but
to
you gotta-
12:30.
You got to be nice to her though, because she's. Hold on, let me get a picture of her. You got to be nice to her though, because she's
And
very
Thoreau
sensitive.
said the
Hold on,
same
let me get a
thing.
picture of the 3 of you guys. Put your head over here.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it.
Now, you're easily irritated this morning, aren't you?
I'm always easily irritated. Why?
Yeah, it's
That
not
was-
unique.
I don't know why that is on there.
What?
This.
Hey, I turned it off. It's the green thing's on, and I turned it off. I don't want some of this stuff on. I want the whole thing turned off and then turned back on again. If you could do that for me. I already turned it off. Why did it?